Hello, everybody. There's a lot of excitement about the NAB, and rightly so, about the 4K Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera. And I've seen also that it's moved over into the general press, what I call the mainstream media now, that's covering the NAB. And I've noticed quite a lot of chatter, even amongst my YouTube friends in the videography community. And I'm certainly I'm as amateur in rank as they come. But I've noticed people talking up the Blackmagic 4K Pocket Cinema camera, and I wanted to weigh in on that, having been someone that owned the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, and now, of course, comes along the 4K Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. What I want to talk about is you've got to understand when you're talking about this camera, you're talking about a camera that's really geared for the abilities of professional photographers and videographers. Reason being, well, this one actually does take photos, but more for videographers that are professional in nature because they're used to the ins and outs and talking the lingo and being able to use things, different LUTs, lookup tables to give certain color profiles to their video. They're used to talking about dynamic ranges. They're used to talking about the bit rates or how much information is processed over a certain period of time in an image. Very important stuff. And, they're also used to doing things like setting their own exposures and pulling their own focuses. And that's something that is very, usually quite beyond the scope of the average videographer. So it's very easy to be sucked into talk about dynamic range and improve night vision of this camera, the ability to low light ability. It's great. Or the ability to have some lookup table in there now that does give some basic color rendering, but you have to understand what you're getting into when you buy this camera. The 4K camera, like the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera before, what I call the Generation 1, there's a very steep learning curve, and it's very easy to get in there because of the Dunning-Kruger effect and think that you are much better than you actually are at videography. And all of a sudden, when you get a camera like that, a cinema camera, a camera that shoots RAW or ProRes or one of the other basic flat formats in there, a format that can pull up a lot of detail when you understand how to do it in grading and editing, well, it's a totally different story than being frustrated the first time you get that video out of camera and you look at it in a RAW format and you say, wow, what is all the fuss about on this? All the fuss about it is because it's not the image that you get out at the time of the video where the beauty comes in. That just gives you a canvas with a lot of different potential, what I call great potential to it. It's when you take that over to color grading and take the time to offload that video footage into a program like DaVinci Resolve Studio program. And you start to work on it and pull up details, and you start to appreciate the dynamic range of the camera, and also the options that you have for colorization on that. That's when the real work begins. In other words, the camera part is easy. What you have to really prepare for is after you shoot the video that is going to require a tremendous amount of time. It is not a camera that you just pick up, go out the door, shoot some video, and then go home, or God forbid you shoot some video of a wedding or something very important, and then you go home and you have to deal with that. And you may be surprised. You may think you have the camera held as steady can be, and then you get home and you see that there's no stabilization in either the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, the Generation 1, or the 4K camera, because these are cameras that are not designed for run and gun. They're designed to be mounted on tripods, mounted on zoom dollies, mounted on really good gimbals, and used that way. And you better be able to pull focus on them too. Okay, you better be able to focus while you're on the go. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of moving parts in these cameras. They sound glamorous, but the workload is phenomenal. Now, over time, like anything else, you progress, you become better at doing it, But that frustration factor and that feeling that I just can't get what I want out of this camera, and I'll never be as good as some of the videos that I see on YouTube that people render, it's understandable. This is what I say, there's quantum leaps in video skills, and I'm as guilty as anyone when I jump into something like videography. And I vastly overestimate my ability because of what they call the Dunning-Kruger effect, or the inability to see our actual skills as opposed to our perceived skills. And then we're in over our heads. Dynamic range is great. Color is great. The ability to get that tremendous range of detail, and now low light capability is going to make this a great camera. This Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, the 4K edition. It's great. Better battery life, better low light capability, better audio. All things that are going to be a plus. But at the end of the day, remember, when you're done using and shooting, setting up and shooting that video and taking it home to be worked on, you're going to be astounded at the amount of work that's entailed. This is really a camera that's not designed for run and gun. And some of my friends were talking about buying this camera and going to use it and using it for vlogging and for run and gun videography. You are making a terrific mistake. If you think that you're going to sit this on a selfie stick and point it on at yourself and get good video, you are going to be in for a rude awakening. Or charging down the street or walking down the street and capturing video, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. It is a great camera, the Blackmagic 4K Pocket Cinema Camera, but beware. Be totally aware of what you are getting into and the work that's required. For me, I dropped back and I thought the state of videography is such today, the state of equipment is such that I'm never going to be a professional videographer. Yeah, I may eventually get the Blackmagic 4K Pocket Cinema Camera, but it isn't going to be soon. I sold all my high-end camera gear. Why? Look at what some of these cell phone cameras are capable of today. The Samsung Galaxy 9 Plus, the Pixel 2, the Apple iPhone 10, the LG 40, the Huawei P20. It's amazing. You know, the days of me wanting to lug around a lot of video equipment are gone. But this is really about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, the 4K one, and I'm encouraging you, understand what you are getting into. Okay? Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and your comments are most welcome down below, and thumbs up are appreciated. Thanks.